Are you ready to absolutely crush your next Game Jam submission? With the GMTK Game Jam 2025 just around the corner, this is your moment to shine. Now's the perfect time to make sure your next Game Jam entry is your best one yet. We are a 2-person indie game team, and we actually dove into our very first Game Jam about 3 years ago. Fast forward 10 Game Jams later, and we have gotten better and better. Game Jams truly kickstarted our journey into game development and have been an absolutely brilliant way for us to grow, improve our skills, and launch new games. In fact, our submission from the GMTK 2024 made it to the top 100 and has since transformed into a fully fledged game on Steam called Draguna Matata. So I'm so excited to share with you our top secrets so you can give your best in game jams and get the most out of the process. Let's dive in. Game Jams is all about embracing constraints. You're tight on time, the theme is a real head scratcher, maybe you have a tiny team or you're flying solo. While all the intense jamming happens during the timeline of the jam, you can totally use the time before it even begins to set you up for success. To prevent piling on the pressure when the clock starts ticking, here's what we love to do before the game jam even kicks off. First things first, figure out your constraints. Start by taking a good look at the official rules of the game jam. Once you have checked the general restrictions on things like time limit, team size, what assets you can use of AI, or anything else, then it's time to honestly assess your own constraints. Are you a bit limited in certain skills? Or maybe you're itching to make a specific type of game. Before we jump to any game jam, we think up such additional constraints for ourselves. This helps us narrow down on ideas we'll enjoy building. Obviously, you'll get a clearer picture when the theme drops, but it's super helpful to know ahead of time what you are genuinely excited about. Next, assemble your team even if it's just you. Maybe you always collaborate with your trusty partner, or you are in the process of putting together a ragtag crew, or perhaps you just prefer to be the lone wolf. Figure out your collective strengths and any gaps early on. This will help you decide the best approach for your game. You can start by dividing up who's doing what for how long. Think about narrative, art, music, sound design, engineering, level design, each page, picking the font, or bringing out the pizzas. It becomes so much easier when these tasks pop up during the game jam. And if you're tackling everything by yourself, you'll have to be extra particular about time boxing your efforts. Now that you have a handle on your skills and constraints of your team, get a fix on your tech stack. We usually tend to do our development in Unity, and our art assets are made on Procreate, Sprite, and Blender, depending on whether we are going 2D or 3D. Having some assets for quick prototyping downloaded ahead of time can be very handy. As long as everything you do is allowed for the game jam, prepping in advance can free up valuable time. This means you'll be ready to roll the moment the theme drops. The countdown runs out, the theme drops, and the game jam officially begins. You'll likely find that the theme is pretty vague, which is great because it allows for a wide variety of awesome submissions. So your very first step is to interpret the game jam theme in different ways to find something you are genuinely excited to explore. Look at different meanings of the themes and seek out connected mechanics, or even indulge in a bit of wordplay through clever puns. You can even use a GenAI tool to spark some ideas and brainstorm. In the past, I found it very helpful to write down different interpretations of the theme and then dive deeper into each branch of that map without spending too long on any one. You can use good old paper or a whiteboard, or like us, use Excalibur. But here's the crucial part. Do not take forever. In an expanding canvas of ideas, it's easy to just keep going and going trying to find that perfect idea. This is a trap. In our earlier game jams, we would spend too long just ideating, and it would eat away from our actual development time. It has been much better to just land on something we are generally excited about as a team and focus on execution. Ideas evolve anyways as you build, so just pick the ones you're most excited about and move on to the fun part. At the end of the brainstorm, you will have a rough idea of where you're headed, or maybe you are down to a short list of 2 or 3 fantastic concepts. This is a brilliant point of time to find out if it's actually fun or does it just sound fun in your head. Test your ideas through paper prototyping. Try to physically simulate how your game would play out. Grab some paper and a pencil. You can use household objects to play characters and obstacles. You can even pull out your chess or board game pieces to help you along. Just be silly and imaginative. What you are trying to find out is if the game feels fun, and will it make sense in the few minutes somebody will play it, and also if it is feasible. This is the cheapest and fastest way to bin bad ideas and refine the good ones. If the core idea and mechanic feels fun, any further development will only level it up. But if that paper prototype doesn't make you feel excited to build ahead, you can quickly test the next idea in your lineup and find the fun early. Once your idea clears the paper prototyping stage, it's time to get into development. I always try to get to a playable Greybox version of the game as fast as possible. It's way too early to dig into polish or make things look as good as final. Just getting to a minimum implementation of the core mechanics with a handful of default blocks is absolutely good enough. We have found that a quick proof of concept really helps us in articulating what's working and, just as importantly, what isn't. A Greybox version is usually a fantastic pointer to where the fun lies, so we can refine it further, and then the game begins to take shape. From this point, you can usually crack on to building your game at full speed. Just be careful of two common pitfalls. Maybe you look at your project and feel, this is not a fun game. Hopefully your paper prototyping has prevented this scenario and you really don't need this step. But if you find yourself in this situation like we have in the past, don't panic. See what you can to salvage your project by identifying if it's because of the mechanic or the playability. Test quickly and pivot only if you really need to. In your paper prototype, you must have found something that was fun. See what you can do to bring that to the forefront of the game. Or maybe you absolutely love where your project is going, and that's a fantastic place to be. But it's hard not to be carried away trying to do everything that comes to mind. Having fallen into this trap before, we have come to realize that the best thing you can do at this point is to articulate the smallest version of the game that feels good enough, and aim for that. Avoid these common pitfalls and you'll be racing full steam ahead, making your game come to life. As you get into the thick of things, make sure you have set aside some time for eating and sleeping. Trust me, while game jams are really tight on time, you really need the sleep. This can seriously boost your productivity when you need it the most. So don't exhaust yourself early in the game jam, so you can save your hardest push for the end. As you build your game, you want to be refining it continuously. The only practical way of doing it is to keep playtesting your game throughout the jam. Try to play it as if it's the very first time you're playing the game, and trust your instincts. If the controls don't feel tight enough, they probably are not. If the lack of an undo button feels frustrating, it very likely is. Playtesting is absolutely vital for removing any boring, confusing, and frustrating bits that might have creeped up into your game. If you can, ask a friend to spare a few minutes and play it too. One of the best things that can happen in a playtest is your friend struggling and absolutely raging over a very hard level or a decision you are very proud of. This is a much better time to find out if a level needs to be made easier or entirely skipped. This way you have prevented your game from going out with a level where people would have just given up. Speaking of what your submission might need, keep aside some time in the later stages for polish and presentation. Here's our essential checklist. Add some juice. Make your game lively and dynamic with the right feedback. Thoughtfully placed particle effects, sound effects, and screen shakes. This can truly take your submission from good to great. GMTK actually has a very comprehensive video about it, and you can find the link in the description. Don't forget to play through your release builds to find the pesky bugs. Prioritize fixes that are absolutely key to the main gameplay. You'll likely not have time to achieve perfection, so be prepared to ignore bugs that you spot but are not crucial to resolve. If it might make you feel better, you can mention them in your itch.io description. But bear in mind, not everyone reads them. Which also means your game description is not the best place to write down instructions. Make sure they are clear within the game itself. And finally, make sure to carve out enough time for your itch.io page. Your submission will only get players if your thumbnail and itch page is convincing enough to draw them in. We usually block out the last few hours to make sure the itch page reflects the mood of the game, and the thumbnail feels inviting and stands out in a crowd of contenders. Before we move on what you can do after the game jam, if this video has helped you feel more confident and excited about the GMTK 2025 jam, or whichever is your next game jam, please give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on awesome game dev tips and tricks. The timer runs out, bringing us to the next phase of the game jam, where the submissions are open for everyone to play and vote. In this phase, you can still get more out of the game jam experience. Playing other games is one of my absolute favorite bits. While exploring what others have submitted, I have often come across some very novel ways of interpreting the theme. Some that I hadn't even thought of, and some that were so funny it made me realize how much fun the developers had making the game. From time to time, I have found some hidden gems that I've genuinely enjoyed playing and have sparked ideas for my next jam. I usually make it a point to leave feedback for other submissions that I play, noting what I enjoyed and what could be actionably improved. This way we can all help each other grow and improve. A happy side effect is that commenting on other submissions also gets your own game noticed. It's a win-win. Once the voting period is done and the results are out, there's one more step you can do to make your next submission better. It's time to reflect. Figure out what worked well and what didn't quite hit the mark, and gather all the learnings you can carry forward from this game jam. Over time, it's these retrospectives that have consistently helped us get better and better at game jams, and truly refine our approach. Alright, this whole process has really helped us make games we are truly proud of and level us up over the last 3 years. And I know it will do the same for you. Now I would love to hear from you. Did I miss anything that you do during game jams? Let me know in the comments down below. With that, have a great day and see you all next time. Add some juice. Add some juice. No, a bit too much. Add some juice. Add some juice.